Hello, welcome back, and as always, thank you for joining me here. The spiritual path, no matter what your journey looks like, no matter what role A Course in Miracles plays in that, if any, actually, because you don't have to be a course student to benefit from this video and all of the videos on this channel, by the way. There are plenty of people that find this channel somehow, mysteriously. There's no mystery. The Holy Spirit has led you here. This has found you. Whether you're a long-time course student or not, I invite you to stick around because there will be a message from your inner teacher, the Holy Spirit, here. And it is highly likely, given the density of these conversations, which usually last 20 minutes or more, that you're going to get more than one message. So you'll know it when you hear it. Consider that. That's always the case. There are no accidents. There are no coincidences at all. You're here for a reason. So let's address a question that frequently comes up on the path. And that's okay, this course invites us to give our entire experience to the Holy Spirit, to bring all of our problems, what we perceive to be our problems here in the world, to the Holy Spirit for resolution, to bring our darkness to light, to bring our illusions to truth. The Course invites us to do that. So you might rightly ask, what is this even saying? What are we even talking about? And that's an excellent question. Our mind, especially at first, and sometimes after having practiced this material for years and years, still goes to what does this actually look like? How can the Holy Spirit do this? What do you mean, give over your entire experience to the Holy Spirit? What are you actually talking about? What do you mean, dude? What do you mean? Give all your problems to the Holy Spirit for resolution. Hmm, I don't get it. No problem. That's what we're going to talk about. We're invited to do this because the Holy Spirit looks right past all of our drama that we have allowed ourselves to make real and become ensnared in. All the stuff, all the stuff that goes on here in the world, all of our divisions, our fear-mongering and hatred, our sadness, our rage. And yeah, it's like a yo-yo going up and down. It's like a roller coaster ride in that sense, because we have very high moments and beautiful moments interspersed with the drama. And no matter how lengthy or how gorgeous the beautiful moments may be, as long as we continue to identify as an ego, the drama will return in a different form, maybe at a different time, in a different guise, but it will still be the stuff. You may freely insert another word for stuff. It's completely appropriate. Huh. So the stuff intervenes, it intercedes and blocks our mind again, and we stumble and fall. All right. Well, here we appear to find ourselves. So why would we give all of our problems over to the Holy Spirit for resolution? So they appear to be many. To us, one issue, one problem that we may have here in the world seems to be different from another problem. They take different forms. We may have a financial quandary, 1 minute, a relationship quandary the next. The next minute, we may pick up our social media feed to see what someone has posted that we happen to disagree with. And our mind starts to spiral out of control, judging, blaming, hate, judge, blame, hate, judge, blame, hate, judge, blame, hate. All too common and easy to do. So we get wildly caught up in this every day. Meditation and mindfulness practices, in case you've ever wondered, exist in spirituality in many different traditions so that we may cultivate a present moment awareness. You've heard that before. Present moment awareness, so that we may become aware of our drama as it appears to surround us and engulf us, so that we may recognize it, forgive it, and release it to the Holy Spirit. Forgive, release. I mean, you can't do anything about it if you're not aware that it's going on, right? Right. That's why those practices exist. And if you're going through the workbook for students in A Course in Miracles, or you have gone through the workbook for students, that's what all those practice periods are about. They're meditations. They're training our mind to return to the present moment. When you think about it, we spend pretty much all of our time on the past or the future. We're not present. We're obsessing over what happened yesterday or 15 minutes ago, and we all too often get into a hideous pattern of self-flagellation on that, thinking I should have, would have, could have done this, or I wish so and so would have done this. Well, it's past. It's gone. It's easy enough to accept that here in a video that highlights it specifically for our learning purposes. But when we go out after this video ends into our daily lives, we readily forget this. So we need the present moment awareness so we can stop ourselves, even in mid-thought. If we're thinking about the past, blaming ourselves or blaming somebody else, bring that awareness back to the present moment. Same with the future. It's not here. We would readily accept that here in the context, in this abstract context of a video about A Course in Miracles, about spirituality. Yet we turn this video off and we start obsessing over tomorrow, over next week. What's going to happen 6 months from now? And we could spend all day on that, spinning our wheels over something that is not here, bringing awareness back to the present moment. Oh, I know. The same message you've heard elsewhere. Yeah. Until we begin to really practice it, we need the repetition. And even then, it's very helpful, isn't it? So, what's so special about the Holy Spirit? Well, how can he do what we're invited to give him to do? How does he do this? Well, he doesn't see the differences in outward form that we fixate on. He looks right past form completely. To us, one problem may be different than another. It appears different to us. Our relationship problem may be really, really difficult to analyze, difficult to address, and in our mind, it's difficult to solve. It's bigger than a problem of maybe paying a bill or something. Let's say you have the funds and you have to take care of it today. Minor, right? Compared to a giant relationship conflict or a geopolitical conflict or something like that. Our problems to us appear to have grades of difficulty, degrees of difficulty, if you will. The Holy Spirit doesn't see that and looks right past form completely. To him, all of our problems are the same. There's only one problem. Therefore, there's one solution. That's the way he sees it. What's the problem? Our perceived separation from God, and therefore our perceived separation from our brother, which never took place. But we believe in our limited frames of reference that it has taken place. So we need correction of our perception. Enter the Holy Spirit, who corrects errors in our mind. We give them to him. He corrects them by looking right past the surface level to the content, to the heart of the matter, looking right past illusions to truth. In other words, there's one error, the perceived separation. This shows up in the form of thoughts that we have that someone must lose in order for someone else to gain. That there's always this conflict, this push pull in life, this quid pro quo where someone profits at somebody else's expense. There's always a sense of loss, and we can experience this quite acutely, painfully, profoundly. Hmm? We can all relate to this. The Holy Spirit recognizes that there is no loss. So he teaches us as we follow his guidance and forgive that giving and receiving are the same. And what do you give away? You keep it. You keep it in your mind and it strengthens in your mind. So are you condemning and blaming, or are you extending love? Are you forgiving? You keep that in your mind. And there's only one Son of God. As you see your brother, you see yourself because your brother is you. There's no separation of any kind. The Holy Spirit recognizes that. We're invited to look with him. Let him resolve all of our conflict. Bring our conflict to him for resolution. Bring all of our errors to him for correction. Hmm. Bring all of our darkness to light. What happens? The darkness is gone in the presence of light. Light shines it away, like flipping on a light switch in a dark room. The darkness is gone. It is as though it were never there. It was not there. There is no loss possible. Why? There's no separation. Because there's no separation, there's no separate other that we wrest something from, or steal something from, or take something from. There's no separation. There is no separation. The Holy Spirit looks right past all the apparent outward forms to truth, to the heart of the matter. The Course refers to it as content. There is no loss. There cannot be any loss. And we're invited to think not that the extraordinary limits that we place on ourselves which are many, the extraordinary limits that we place on our own mind, let us not think that that limits God in any way. The limits that we heap upon ourselves don't limit God in any way. He remains completely unaffected by all of our little drama. And of course, we project our drama onto each other. We project it on to the Holy Spirit, even to Jesus. We project it onto God Himself, labeling Him as punitive, vindictive, jealous. If there's no separation of any kind, how can God be jealous? Answer that one for me, will you? No? Okay. It's not possible. It's not possible. These are all things that we've projected onto Him. And we're afraid. Needlessly, there is no reason to be afraid of perfect love. It does not condemn, and you have never sinned there. You've always known. I mean, you may have been raised in a tradition that emphasizes the idea of sin. I certainly was. Gosh, I was raised in not one but two Judeo-Christian traditions in a relatively conservative looking country, i.e., the United States. And by fundamentalist tradition, I mean our building is the only building. That building across the street's not a real building. I mean, it looks like a real building, and those look like real people going in there, but they're not real people because they're wrong. Their building doesn't congregate the same day as ours. Mm. Our building's the only building. Let us wall ourselves off inside. You know, that kind of attitude. Now, what does that represent for all of us? And a lot of course students have had this experience, not all by any means, but many people arrive at A Course in Miracles having been raised in a Judeo-Christian tradition in the West that they found, well, kind of wanting. Not everybody. Not everybody by a long shot. Not everybody had the kind of experiences that I had as a kid bored out of my mind in Sunday school. So, what is this but a giant opportunity for forgiveness on a platter? A gift of forgiveness opportunities, which we get every day. All we have to do is think about it. Anything that is not wholly 100% completely joyous is, in fact, an opportunity to forgive. Anything, which means our natural state is joy. It's so exuberant and limitless that words just can't even approach it. They can't approach it. All words can do is point. Therefore, any teacher here in the world, no matter the tradition, can simply point. That's all we're doing here is pointing to truth and hopefully inspiring you to walk the path. And if you're doing it, to keep going. Please keep going. Because you can and will awaken. I have every confidence in your ability to do just that. Now, you may be doubting your own ability. We all do that. And the spiritual path is, well, it looks like a roller coaster ride. And you may be having one of those days where it doesn't feel like anything is working at all. Remember that anything at all that is not wholly joyous is an opportunity to forgive. So we go back to the purpose of meditation and mindfulness practices in any spiritual tradition and return our awareness to true forgiveness of the Son of God. Obsessing about the future, what's coming tomorrow? I don't know. Disturbed by it? Forgive it. Right now in the present moment. Worried about yesterday? Forgive it. Right now in the present moment. When else? It's very simple, yet we find it so incredibly difficult to do. In fact, this course is chock full of very, very simple ideas. And it is, here in our experience in the world, the simple things that we are most apt to overlook. We're prone to disregard them completely in our mad, crazy, frantic, lunatic belief that things have to be more complicated than they are. Oh no, truth is very simple. It simply is. If you want a powerful prayer, ask for help from your inner teacher, ask for help from Jesus, or call it whatever you want to call it. Call it your guides, who cares? It's part of our mind. Ask your inner teacher for help in allowing truth to be just as it is. Help me allow truth to be just as it is. Extremely powerful. What are we doing here? We're getting out of our own way. We're taking a step to the side and letting the Holy Spirit run the show. We're bringing our drama to Him for resolution. He looks right past all the surface level stuff. This stuff does not serve us, as you well know, or you wouldn't be interested in spirituality. I mean, we're all responding to the universal 24/7 call of the Holy Spirit. You've answered it, so thank you for that. Keep answering it. Feeling afraid? Not a problem. It's part of the path. Forgive it. What seems to be the object of that fear? Forgive that. Release it to the Holy Spirit. This is all done in the mind. The entire course is done in the mind. How do you know it's working? Well, by the results that you see. Here's an example. Consider where you were in life when you began this practice or any spiritual practice. Doesn't matter if it's this course or something else. Anything that you did for a period of time, maybe 15 minutes or decades, doesn't matter. Where were you when you started? How about now? Are you more forgiving now? Have you changed? Are you more loving now? Maybe someone could really anger you in the past with something that they said. Maybe a friend, an ex, a family member, someone could get under your skin, so to speak, and anger you and put you on the defensive instantly, flying into a fit of rage. We all can think of people like that, huh? Yeah. So fast forward, post dedication and commitment to spiritual practice and actually doing it, that person could say the same thing that years ago would have thrown you into a fit of rage. And let's say it happens today and it doesn't even register for you. You don't fly into that fit of rage. It's as though they never said it. It has no effect. Oh. Hmm. This is well worth returning our awareness to because we all have days where this feels impossible. It feels like it's not working. We take a look at the world around us spiraling down the drain, as it certainly appears to be on any given day. Even in peaceful circumstances, things still appear to be spiraling down the drain because the conflict appears to be taking place in our mind. It hasn't left its source. Ideas leave not their source. Thoughts remain in the mind of the thinker. A central idea here in this course. So, where do we deal with these ideas? In the mind. We give them to the Holy Spirit, all of them. He knows what to do with them. And we're invited to look with Him When you begin to do this, you do not see things the same. You certainly cannot see them the same. Doesn't mean that periods of annoyance won't creep in. It doesn't mean that acute anger and rage won't creep in either. But here's the difference between then and now. Now you have a very powerful guide and a very powerful tool, true forgiveness of the Son of God. Now you know what to do about it. So the more that we hear conversations like this, the more it sticks in our mind and the more prone we are, the more apt we are to put it into practice. And that's where the real learning takes place. Yeah, it's helpful to understand these things with the intellectual thinking mind that we so adore and prostrate to and bow down to and stroke and worship here in the world. It's pretty limited. It'll only take you so far. Where you really learn is in the doing. You learn this course by doing it. That's how we learn it. Our experience demonstrates to us, it shows us and proves to us that these ideas are true. So if you don't believe me, prove it to yourself. It's okay if you don't believe this pixelated image on your screen or this big fat blue book with well over 1,000 pages of saying the same thing in different words on a different day. Not unlike any other spiritual tradition in that sense, is it? Prove it to yourself. We demand proof of people here in the world all the time. Are you demanding it of yourself? Mm. When you begin to do this, you do become more loving. You become more forgiving. Things that used to bother you don't bother you. You don't see them the same way. And we only reach this awareness by doing it, by putting these teachings into practice. So that is what I hope to inspire you to do each and every time this camera and microphone goes on. Now, along the way, I'm more than happy as a guide here to answer any questions that you might have. So if you've got them, please feel welcome to leave them here. This comment thread on YouTube is a very good place to do just that. And even if you just wish to pop in and say hello, I'd love to hear from you. It is a growing international community. So thank you to those of you who have recently subscribed, well, and to everyone else that has subscribed too. If you haven't, that's the prompt. We'd love to have you join us. So please go ahead and click that icon. You'll be invited to subscribe and join us. And well, there's always something to say about our spiritual path, isn't there? Because every day we're going to have multiple gift opportunities to forgive. So the more we recognize it, the better. The more we act on it, the better. And there will be something very poignant to talk about tomorrow. I mean, it's the Course in Miracles after all. So I thank you for joining me, and I will talk to you soon.